A very good afternoon to you and welcome to your lunchtime news. Let's start off with a look at the headlines.
Suspects connected to the murder of Vasantha Zoisa are produced before the Anuradhapura JMO. Upcountry train services hampered due to the lack of engine availability. 34 Indian fishermen arrested for violating the maritime boundary. Over 260 people killed in the earthquake that struck Afghanistan, Pakistan and India.
6 more suspects have been arrested over the murder of karate champion Vasantha Zoisa. Police said that the arrested persons will be produced before the Anuradhapura Judicial Medical Officer. Our correspondent said that 8 suspects were escorted to the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital this morning. Police said that the suspects will be produced before the Anuradhapura Magistrates Court after producing them before the JMO. The owner of the nightclub Vasantha Zoisa died following the attack, while 3 others who sustained injuries have been admitted to the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital for treatment. Speaking to News First yesterday, ASP Ruwan Gunasekara said that investigations had revealed that the murder had taken place as a result of an unresolved personal dispute between the deceased and the suspects who were apprehended. The final rites of Vasantha Zoisa will be performed at the Nisala Nimanya public burial ground in Anuradhapura at 5 p.m. in the evening. Rural Economic Development Minister P. Harrison inspected the dedicated economic centre in Meegoda.
The ministers visited the dedicated economic centre in Meegoda last evening and looked into the shortcomings with regard to the infrastructure.
This has turned into mere shops, and the services that the government hopes to be carried out to the public has not been carried out. Therefore, we hope to streamline the process and ensure that a proper service is provided to the consumers and that a reasonable price will be given to the farmers. That is our objective. The international community has come together to say that Sri Lanka needs to be given the opportunity to solve its own issues. Tunmulla Vimal went on preaching to the whole nation. However, he has an issue over his passport. His wife also has the same issue. They spoke of something called the hybrid court. It seems to me that he has a hybrid passport. We have to implement the law on him as well.
Minister of Public Administration and Management Ranjit Madhuba Bandara states that the power of the Uva Provincial Council should be vested with the UNP.
The Uva Provincial Council is not stable. It is bouncing between the UNP and the alliance. The Uva Provincial Council took the initiative in voting against fraud and corruption and to expel the Rajapaksa regime in the country. The power of the UNP should be regained. I think it will change in the future. We have to make the necessary arrangements for the UNP to win at the Provincial Council elections.
Minister of National Dialogue Mano Ganesan says that forces that base themselves on racism and nationalism will not be allowed to interfere with the country again. He made these remarks at an event held at the Department of Official Languages.
The presentation of certificates for students who completed the language course for 2014 at the Language Laboratory took place at the auditorium of the Department of Official Languages.
The national issue we face today is based on the language issue in the country. We have visited Geneva, but we cannot go there again. Therefore, we cannot allow any outside nation to force the government or interfere with internal matters based on language, race or religion. That does not mean that we are closing the doors. We cannot commit wrongs by closing all doors. The windows will be opened. Anyone have a look. Wrongs will not be committed.
Sagala Rathnayaka, the Minister of Southern Development, speaking at an event in Galle, said there needs to be a change in the education system in line with the development of the economy.
The annual prize giving of Alpiti Ananda Central College in Galle took place under the auspices of Sagala Rathnayaka, the Minister of Southern Development. Parliamentary Reforms and Media Minister Gayantha Karunathalaka was also present.
We need to thoroughly think about the education system of our country. We need to question ourselves if the knowledge we gain from our classrooms are applicable enough when it comes to the world of work. Today, the country's biggest problem has been lack of ability. That is why we need to improve our skills and abilities to move forward. That is our ultimate aim. While trying to develop the economic system of our country, the education system should also be transformed into a good situation. Lessons learned in schools as well as universities should be put into practice. So we are heading towards a secondary education system.
Operations on the upcountry train services have been hampered due to the lack of train engine availability. A high-ranking official at the Department of Railways said that this may cause delays in train services. He added that these train engines that have been allocated to provide services in the event of an emergency breakdown of a train engine have also been included in the operations at present. He noted that from the train engines that were imported from France a decade ago, only one is in operation on the upcountry line. He further said that the other train engines are damaged beyond repair. The Vap full moon Poya is a very significant Poya in the Buddhist calendar. According to Buddhist history, many events related to the life of the Buddha occurred on this Poya day. It was a Vap full moon Poya day that the Buddha ended his 7th retreat for the rainy season since his enlightenment, which he had spent in the celestial abode of Tavatissa. There he engaged in preaching Abhidhamma to the Devas and deities headed by Matradeva. Accompanied by a procession of devotees, the Buddha descended near the city gates of Sankasapura, whereupon, having preached Dhamma to the great crowds which flocked to witness the strange event, he declared Arahat Sariputta as the most intelligent person among all the disciples when he successfully answered various difficult questions put to him by the Buddha. During the ancient era, Vap was known as the period of sowing. 34 Indian fishermen who breached the maritime boundary have been taken into custody. The Navy stated that 7 vessels were also seized.
The Sri Lanka Navy seized 2 boats north of Kankazanthurai, 2 boats off Delft Island and 3 boats in close proximity to Thalemana. The Navy said that 23 Indian fishermen were moved to Kankazanthurai while 11 others were taken to Thalemana. Navy notes that they will be handed over to the officers of fisheries investigations. Minister of Fisheries and Aquatic Resource Development Mahinda Amaruvira said the 86 Indian fishermen in Sri Lankan custody will be released. Fisheries Minister Amaruvira said that the decision to release the fishermen were reached following discussions with the Indian Deputy High Commissioner last week. He added that accordingly the 7 Sri Lankan fishermen in Indian custody are also expected to be released soon. The minister further added that while the Indian fishermen are to be released, their fishing vessels will remain in Sri Lankan custody. He added that it is expected to find the owners of the vessels rather than to arrest the fishermen who violate the maritime boundary.
The 2015 Urban Designers International Conference was held in Colombo yesterday. This is the 3rd consecutive time the conference is being held.
The conference, which is organized by the Department of Architecture of the University of Moratuwa, commenced yesterday under the auspices of the Deputy Minister of Megapolis and Western Development, Lasantha Alagiyawanna. The conference was held with the participation of architects, urban designers and environmentalists from 20 countries. The book containing the research reports were presented to the Deputy Minister at the conference.
An individual has been murdered with the use of a rock along the Makivita Satipola Road in Gampaha this morning. Police media spokesperson ASP Ruwan Gunasekara said that the victim was a 24-year-old resident of Rajagiriya. He added that both the suspect and the victim had been drinking alcohol last night when an argument had broken out, resulting in the assault and murder. ASP Gunasekara further added that the suspect, who fled the scene of the crime, has been identified and that further investigations are currently underway. The Ministry of Power and Energy says that measures will be taken to reduce excess electricity consumption by 10%. Suren Batagoda, Secretary to the Ministry of Power and Energy, said that energy conservation program is being formulated in case of an energy crisis in the year 2018. He added that fuel and thermal power plants were undergoing repairs in case of a power crisis was to emerge. It has been reported that 4 persons had been injured in a motor accident that took place in Kapuatta Jayala early this morning.
The accident had taken place due to the collision between a bus and a 3-wheeler. Our correspondent stated that the bus plying from Jayala to Colombo had collided onto a 3-wheeler which entered the main road through a crossroad. The driver of a motorcycle was killed in a collision with a tipper truck opposite Ananda Maitri Mahavidyalaya in Balangoda. The police stated that a 19-year-old youth from the Hapugaha Kumura area in Balangoda has thus been killed in the accident. The injured individual had succumbed to his injuries subsequent to being admitted to the Balangoda base hospital. The driver of the tipper has been arrested in relation to the incident.
And that's all the news we have for you here on your lunchtime news. Join us again at 1:55 for more of the latest. I'm Aishwarya Pinto for News First.